Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inconsistency. I am your host, Jason Gutierrez, and I am very pleased to be with you today. So last week was the first episode of the show, making this one the second. And I have decided that last week was a very just an intro to the show, and I kind of took it much more light, much more quick. And today I wanted to get more in depth on just one issue. The issue of the week, of course, that everybody seems to be in an uproar about, and it's, I think, the most divisive thing since Brett Kavanaugh, is, of course, this image right here. This young man by the name of Nick Sandmann, and it really sucks that his name is out there, being as he is all of 15 years old. And of course, this image has just gone super viral. One of the most heated things since Watergate. And this poor kid has become the face of racism in America. So I'm going to read the article because I actually have an article from Vox today. Let me pull it up in 1 second. So this is the story. Really quickly, I'm going to just show the video. Let me see if I can. Okay, so this is the video of the incident. So the kid obviously. Okay. So this is what has circulated the internet and taken everything by storm. So as you can see, okay, there's Nick Sandmann. But as you can see, there is this man right here, who is Native American, beating his Native American hand drum, and we see a whole bunch of white, like exclusively white, young men, most of them wearing some sort of Trump apparel, MAGA hats or hoodies or whatever. So Nick Sandmann in the front here is the image looks as though he is smugly staring this Native American down and taunting him while he is doing his sacred drum beating, apparently. Yeah, we can just get rid of that because it just kind of continues on for minutes. And the people took this image and they ran with it by storm. It got the media all up in an uproar. I mean, this is the article from Vox that I promised to pull up. White students in MAGA gear taunt Native American elders. President Donald Trump started off the week by mocking one of the worst American massacres in U.S. history in order to score some political points. By Friday, a group of young white teenagers were following in his footsteps by taunting Native American elders at the Indigenous Peoples March in Washington, D.C. Okay, right off the bat, on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, no less. I love right off the bat how, they're young white teenagers versus the Native American elders. So it's not just Native American people. No, these people are elders, and these are the simple things that really bug me. These are the things that really bother me about the media and where I say people are inconsistent and biased in how they report things. What makes these people elders? The fact that they're elders within their own tribe? You couldn't call them people or men. No, they're elders. All right, so the next paragraph goes. In videos shared widely on YouTube and Twitter, a young man wearing a red Make America Great Again hat stands inches away from a native elder who is beating a drum. Different angles of the incident show a group of a few dozen young people, mostly boys in the background, jumping up and down and jeering in unison at the group of elders present for the day's march. In some shots, the teens appear to be shouting, "Build that wall, build that wall." The boys' school announced late Saturday that it is now investigating the incident to see what punishments for the students is appropriate. Even expulsion could be on the table. So this is serious. This is obviously, I mean, from that video, I guess he caused enough harm that it may be warranted to expel them. That's where they're going. Imagine being threatened with expulsion for just standing there. According to Vincent Schilling from Indian County today, the elder targeted in the video clip is Nathan Phillips, a Vietnam War veteran and a former director of Native Youth Alliance. Phillips is a keeper of a sacred pipe, Schilling reports, and each year hosts a ceremony honoring Native American veterans at Arlington National Cemetery. The commemoration coincided Friday with the first annual Indigenous Peoples March, which was organized by a coalition of tribal councils, activists, and youth leaders to raise awareness on issues facing their community, from police brutality to mental wellness and violence against women. Okay, going further. Not only is it the white teenage boys versus the elders, this elder is apparently messianic. He spends all of his time feeding the poor. He is the greatest man on earth. He has never harmed a flea. He's just a hero in all sense of the words. He's a Vietnam War vet, for Christ's sake. It's more video shows Phillips wiping away tears after the incident. Those are his tears. "This is indigenous land," he's quoted as saying. "You know, we're not supposed to have walls here. We never did for millennia. Before, well, it says millenniums. Before anybody else came here, we never had walls," he says in the clip. "I wish I could see that energy in that young mass of young men down there, to put that energy into making this country a really, really great, helping those that are hungry." The teenagers in the clip have yet to be identified, though young men in the background appear to be wearing clothing with the insignia for Covington Catholic High School in Park Hills, Kentucky. The Diocese of Covington Catholic High School on Saturday afternoon condemned the harassment and said in a statement that an investigation is underway and we will take appropriate action up to and including expulsion. "We extend our deepest apologies to Mr. Phillips. This behavior is opposed to the church's teachings on the dignity and respect of the human person," the statement said. The episode casts a dark shadow over the March for Life, an annual anti-abortion demonstration that drew thousands of protesters and surprise appearance Friday from Trump and Vice President Mike Pence. The students had traveled to D.C. to attend the gathering, which held competing rallies on the day of the Indigenous Peoples March. It was after demonstrations had begun to die down that the students began harassing American elders in the video. "We know this incident also has tainted the entire witness of the March for Life, and express our most sincere apologies to all those who attended the march and all those who support the pro-life movement," the diocese and the school statement continues. Okay, let me see if anything else here is important. Okay. All right. So that's pretty much the gist of the whole thing. So you read that and it's pretty bad. So you read that story and it seems that you have a group of privileged young white males. They go to a private Catholic high school, so they're Christian on top of that, against the poor indigenous, going against the indigenous people. So they paint it in a way that these kids, like, we don't even know why they were there. It looks as though they were just there to counter protest and harass. So a few days go by, or just the next day, and it comes out that we have a very, very big player in a very big group on this incident, a very big part of it that wasn't mentioned at all. Now, these fellas are very famous in New York, or very infamous, I should say. It's It is the Hebrew Israelites, aka the Black Israelites, aka the children of Israel. And here's some of what they had to say. This was actually, so really quickly, this was right as the students were there at the Lincoln Memorial, because that was actually the meeting spot for them to go back home. So they were at the March for Life, and they were told to meet there to wait for their buses so that they could leave. That's the whole reason that they're there. When they're there, they meet up with these fine gentlemen.
Hey,
so we didn't sell.
Won't y'all come up and ask a question, Billy? Don't stand to the side and mock. Bring y'all crack ass up here and make a statement. They got a statement, Salakia, Marv. Yeah. Tell them come over here in the lion's den instead of mocking over there. You little dirty ass crackers, your day coming. Your day coming.
Friendly people.
Your day coming.
Okay.
Because you little dusty asses wouldn't walk down the street in a black neighborhood and go walk up on nobody playing no games like that.
They're 15.
Yeah, I will stick my foot in your little ass.
That's not a ringing endorsement for them walking into the black neighborhoods there, sir. Okay, let's see. Let me try to find more of that.
He's next to him. Look at little Kanye.
Right.
Little Kanye niggas.
All right. Boom. There we go.
When you leave, the demons are gonna come. I'm around them up.
See that?
So before we got interrupted, what we out here trying to do is wake up our people to the truth of the Holy Scriptures, to the truth of the Bible.
This is
you
the truth.
The children of God. You are the chosen people.
So we're over here mad at the Catholic school that was harassing.
We are here to warn you before judgment comes.
Get some blue on those fronts.
Let's see.
And that's why you got little Billy and them over there with they Make America Great hats again.
And you got the little Kanye's next to them. Look at little Kanye.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Little Kanye niggas.
I don't think they're saying that in a friendly way. Oh, wait a
So
second.
That's what we out here
That's
trying to
a
do.
bit hostile.
We not out here trying to cause trouble. America ain't never been great. It only been great for you damn Packer Woods.
Packer Woods.
When you had free labor.
He called them Packer
When you
Woods.
had free labor. That's the only time America was great for y'all. Y'all got the nerve to wear them stupid hats. And you simple Kanye West over there want to hang with your oppressor. The Lord said, though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not go unpunished.
So that's something that really bothers me. If there's any, I mean, I obviously feel bad for Nick, because for the kid, he's been put everywhere, and there's no way he wants that fame. But the people that I feel most bad for, and not because I would pity them or anything like that, I just think it's rough to be in that position, is like the fine man just said, is the Kanyes, aka the Kunyes, and that's simply black conservatives, or even black people that tolerate conservatives. That's way too far. So you can't be that. So this continues to happen. This continues to escalate. It goes on for hours. Let's see. I'm gonna go right before. Sorry, I didn't mark up good times, but I'm trying to see when they go. Let's see. Here we have
Nigga, what you want to do? Look at all these dusty ass crackers with that racist garbage on. Look at these dirty ass
That's 20
crackers.
minutes I'm at, so
Can't stand in the damn sun for 5 minutes.
she's been called Peckerwoods and Crackers for 15 minutes.
Can't stand in the damn sun.
Like grown-ass men.
Let me ask y'all something. Y'all want to build a wall for Mexico's? When's the last time you ever seen a Mexican, a Hispanic, a Native American, or a Negro shoot up a school?
Yeah, crickets. Crickets.
Good point. Valid
Crickets.
point.
Crickets.
They shoot up the
That's
parks.
right.
That's all it is.
Look at their ass. They ass scattered off of that one. They ass scattered off of that one.
Yeah, they look like they're about to shoot.
Look at their ass, Israel.
We all
They
live in
ass
a world.
gone off of that. Look at that mob of these dirty animals. They gone.
Jesus Christ, these
That's
dirty
right.
animals.
Truth gonna be told, whether y'all want to hear it or not. Thus saith the
If
Lord.
anyone else was speaking this way.
Hispanics, Native Americans, and
Let me see.
ain't nobody on the face of the earth suing up schools. Jim Calhoun got a nuke for
Okay, so we're starting to get to the juicy part. Let me bring it right back. I'm trying to see if I can.
Hey, man is now. And guess what? We surrounded and they
Tell you what, fresh grill, can't hate on them. Good beard.
won't do a
Man's
damn
blessed.
thing. Look at this. Bold as a lion.
Make America great again.
Bold as a lion. Look at these. See that?
This is a bunch of Donald
See that?
Trump's sons. This is what Donald
See
Trump
that?
incest children look like.
See that?
A bunch of Donald Trump incest children.
How many insults must it take?
It's 5 of us.
Okay, I think we get the idea. Basically, that's not the same story. So what happens is, let me finish. So the incident goes, they're being harassed by the Black Israelites. The march, the Indigenous Peoples March, see the commotion, and then they come. Let's see, I have it right. No, let me see. No. Okay. Anyway, the Indigenous Peoples March see the confrontation between the Black Israelites and the Kunyes, or the Covington College students, and they jump in front of them in their eyes to diffuse. They say to diffuse the situation. Now Nathan Phillips, the champion over there. Yeah, so Nathan Phillips is actually the aggressor in that he jumps in front of Nick Sandman's face, and that is, of course, when we get this picture. Now, what went on after that was everybody was angry. We had all celebrities from the lovely and talented Miss Sarah Beatty, who says, who tweets out, quote, "I will blow whoever manages to punch that MAGA kid in the face." Meanwhile, if that was me, you would cut to me like this, at Sarah Beatty. I really don't know how he didn't just add her with this one, but I guess he was probably having a bit of a bad day. But yeah, so we have the lovely Miss Sarah Beatty offering to suck dick to have this young man punched in the face. And, of course, the lovely Kathy Griffin, the always woke Kathy Griffin. P.S. The reply from the school was pathetic and impotent. Name these kids. I want names. Shame them. If you think these fuckers wouldn't dox you in a heartbeat, think again. So Kathy wants names. What is implied when you say you want names? What is all, there's nothing short of violence. Everybody wants to hit this kid. Everybody is coming from their moral position, and they're saying it's to hit this kid. Meanwhile, knowing none of the story. Even all of the news agencies jumped on it. They said that these kids were arrogant and they were smug and they were evil and racist and insensitive. And I mean, the best you could hear was them saying, "Oh, well, the Catholic school failed and the parents failed these kids." That was the best case scenario. And then you give it a couple days, and now we have CNN having to backtrack once the angles of the Black Israelites come out, and once the angles of the students were standing in their spot and the Indigenous people came to them. Okay. So a crowd of teenagers, this is CNN, it says, teens in confrontation with Native American elders says he was trying to defuse the situation. Crowd of teenagers, Okay, Nathan, so video of the confrontation show a smiling young man in a red Make America Great Again hat. It seems like that's a big part, doesn't it? It seems as though if these young men were wearing a different hat, if they were wearing maybe a Hope and Change hat, something tells me this wouldn't have happened this way. Something tells me it would have went down a little bit differently. Videos of the confrontation show a smiling young man in a red hat standing directly in front of the man who's playing the drum and chanting. Other kids could be seen laughing, jumping around, seemingly making fun of the chants. Nathan Phillips, an elder with the Omaha tribe, once again, he's an elder, said the confrontation felt like hate unbridled. Nothing to do with the Black Israelites. It's hate unbridled because these kids are fans of Trump. That must be it. It doesn't matter if they were all just being called coons and peckerwoods and dirty ass crackers and demons. All of that went thrown out the window. But if you wear the hat, and you are smug, you are the evil one. You are to be doxxed and you are to be punched in the face and assaulted. I haven't seen one person call for the assaulting of the Black Israelites. Not one. Who's on Twitter saying that? No one. Nathan Phillips, an elder with the Omaha tribe, said it felt like hate unbridled. He said he was scared for his safety and the safety of those with him. This is weird. If you are truly a Vietnam vet, you're telling me that you are scared of 15-year-old white boys? You're scared of a group of 15-year-old you're scared of a group of teenagers that are obviously not violent. You're scared of them because they're jumping around and they're wearing "Make America Great Again" hats. That seems strange for somebody who was, watching his friends blow up and murdering people and burning people alive. That seems like an odd statement to say. The behavior of the students from Covington High School, an all-boys school in northern Kentucky, triggered widespread condemnation from lawmakers and celebrities as well as the school district, the mayor of the neighboring town, and the Diocese of Covington's Roman Catholic, or the diocese. The mayor is telling these people that they're awful. That's insane. Imagine you were on a field trip. These students, this is what they did. This is what happened to Nick Sandman. This is how his day went. He woke up excited to go to the March for Life to try to protect babies. It's his way of seeing it. He's trying to stop abortion. I don't know exactly what his position is, but obviously he's pro-life. So he's over there trying to make himself heard in a non-violent way with the school. So he's excited to go. He goes on the trip. He is told on the trip, I work in mirrors. He's told on the trip, okay, we're going to go to the Lincoln Memorial after we're done with the march. And then we will go home. We will wait for the bus there. You get there, the Black Israelites are calling you peckerwoods, calling your friends a coon, and then you start, because one of the students asked to begin the school chants. That's where they started chanting. They even did a little haka, which, if you don't know, it's like a football thing. I know Jason Momoa did one on like the red carpet. It's just a sporting event man thing. I don't know. I've never done one myself. I couldn't give you too many details, but they did a haka and they were doing the school chants, and that was what could be heard. Those are the chants that could be seen and heard in the video. So they claim, at least the students, they claim that they would never said anything about building a wall or anything that could be deemed as racist at all. So, all right. So CNN's Jake Tapper obtained a statement on Sunday from Nick Sandman, a junior at Covington Catholic High School. So he's a junior. So he's like 16. Who said he is the student in the video. He said he was trying to defuse a tense situation and denied insinuations that anyone in the crowd was acting out of racism or hatred. I was not intentionally making faces at the protester. I did smile at one point because I wanted him to know that I was not going to become angry, intimidated, or be provoked into a larger confrontation. This, I think, is the important thing. I think this is the key word, actually. This is what pissed everyone off, and I think this is what's at the key of everything. I was not going to become angry, intimidated, or be provoked. That's what they want. They want you to bow. What upsets them isn't, well, obviously it's the hat and the fact that you stood there and everything, but what really angers and what really makes it a big deal that you have to be circulated around and you have to be threatened and you have to be made to feel, because you will not be intimidated and you will not bow. That's the only thing I can see why this would ignite such a huge thing. I am a faithful Christian and a practicing Catholic. I always try to live up to the ideals my faith teaches me, to remain respectful of others, and to take no action that would lead to conflict or violence. He's trying to be a righteous kid, but he's not bowing either. He's not backing down, which is actually a very righteous thing to do and a very honorable thing to do, especially considering now how much he's had to go through for it, for something as simple as just saying, no, I'm not going to back down. You know, he didn't know that this guy was a vet or anything. He's just like, no, there's no reason for me to back down. What is he supposed to do? Leave the memorial? What is he supposed to do? Cry and apologize? Would they like, this is what they want. This is another highlight from the Black Israelites. I'm sorry to jump back to them, but this is what I think they want. This reaction would have never gone anywhere. Boom. This is more of the Black Israelites doing their thing. This is what they do best. That's what they want, white people. That's who they want you to be. Okay? They don't want any of this. No, none of this. None of just standing and none of this standing your ground and pride and any of that. Nope. We want you kissing boots. We want you kissing any boot that we put in front of you, because that's where we want you to be. And I'll tell you what. As not a white man, no. Sorry. As not a white man, I don't think I'm gonna have to really go through this. I might. Eventually it'll probably just get to all men. I don't think they like men at all, but white men right now are especially at the bottom. But I'm not bowing. I've got a lot of respect for this kid because he stood for what he wanted to. He cautioned against rushing to judgment based on the short time captured on the videos and encouraged people to watch longer clips available online, as they show a much different story than is being portrayed by people with agendas, he said, which he's absolutely right. I am mortified that so many people have come to believe something that did not happen, that students from my school were chanting or acting in a racist fashion toward African Americans or Native Americans. I did not do that. Do not have hateful feelings in my heart and did not witness any of my classmates doing that. The person who shot the video described the atmosphere as tense. Kaya Taitano, student at the University of the District of Columbia, participating in the Indigenous Peoples March earlier the day, she said the teens were chanting things like Build the Wall and Trump 2020. Those chants were not audible in the videos reviewed by CNN. So, no proof at all. You're going to just print it and say that it happened? No proof at all. And they actually have something, they have a counterclaim that seems reasonable enough. We were just doing the school chant. By the way, also, Trump 2020, if that was what they were chanting, it's perfectly valid. Sorry. You can say that I want to reelect the current president. I think that's acceptable. That should be acceptable in America. You should be able to say, I'm a fan of the president. Doesn't matter whether I am or I'm not. But you should be able to be like, oh yeah, I would like to reelect this fella. I think that was the first intention of your First Amendment right, was to be able to speak about your government and how you would like to be governed. That was the original intention. The big reason why that happened. Okay, so I did not feel safe in that circle, she said. Again, the Black Israelites were right over there actually threatening people, calling people peckerwoods, but no, these white Christian teenagers. Caetano said the whole incident started when the teens and four young African Americans. These guys? These fellas right here? These guys, yeah. These fellas. These guys, remember?
There's 5 of us and they got us surrounded, King. Look at this garbage.
All praises to Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shai.
That's right. That's right. Look at these sea of deep. Hey, look out.
but they don't see the
Look at this, huh?
That guy just walked in through with a hoverboard. That's Liddy.
Who say the bullet boys? Yo.
Anyway, yeah. So those kids, those are the four young African Americans who'd been preaching about the Bible near what? That's what they run with? That's what you saw? Okay. Yeah. I mean, hey, technically true. Technically true enough, CNN. But does that not seem to come off with a bit of an agenda? Is that not a bit short? Is that not telling a little bit of a disservice to us, this story? Yeah, they're just talking about the Bible. No, these young African Americans were being men of Jesus and kind, and they were praying with people. You're calling people. That's insanity. Another video shot before the encounter shows men who identify as members of the Hebrew Israelites taunting the students and another passerby with racist slurs. So, yeah, so it must have been, it says 4 young African Americans. Who were they? And then it says there were others that were the Hebrew Israelites. So were they not the same? And they were, okay. I guess I didn't see that. I'm going to give CNN the benefit of the doubt that they're not talking about the Hebrew Israelites. But got my eye on you, CNN. It got pretty tense, Titano said. So Philip started playing his drum and chanting what she was told was a healing prayer to help diffuse the situation. Because when I want to diffuse a situation, I take a drum, start banging on it as hard as I can, and I walk into people's faces and chant. It got pretty intense. Phillips walked through the crowd, and Titano said things were starting to calm down until he got to the grinning boy seen in the video. This one kid just refused to move, and he just got in Nathan's face. Those are separate things. Those are mutually exclusive. You cannot get in someone's face if you refuse to move. If I don't move, I can't get in your face. That's not how life works. That's not how words work. That's not how space and time works. Other boys circled around, and she said they just surrounded him, and they were mocking him and mocking the chant. We really didn't know what was going to happen there. Philip served in the U.S. Marine Corps Reserve from 1972 to 1976, according to his service record obtained by CNN. He told CNN that he was a Vietnam-era veteran. Oh, now things are changing. A Vietnam-era veteran because you were in the reserves, but before you were a Vietnam vet. The U.S. Marine Corps says he was never deployed during his service. You did nothing. You stayed at home. I was scared. I was worried for my young friends. I don't want to cause harm to anyone, Phillips told CNN's Sarah Cinder. I don't like the word hate. I don't like even saying it, but it was hate unbridled. It was like a storm. The crowd kept growing. Phillips and the boys stood face to face, but Phillips kept on chanting and playing his drum in his face to heal him. What the young man was doing was blocking my escape. I wanted to leave. I was thinking, how do I get myself out of this? I want to get away from it. Okay, really quickly, because I hadn't read this quote. We'll just mute that. Do this. Does this fella look like he's trying to leave? Is our buddy Nick right here? Is he blocking his escape? He doesn't seem to be too worried about it right now, does he? Somehow I don't see him running away. He's not looking behind him at all. You can't escape through the kid. That's not all right. That's not how life works. Where are you trying to escape to? Okay, we're at 210. He's still there at 237. Still there at 320. You've been there for minutes. I haven't seen you run away yet. You don't seem to be blocked at all. The only thing that's happening is this kid is not moving. Okay, let's see how the thing ends. I think it just goes abrupt stop, to be honest with you. Okay. So, are these stories the same? Do these stories match up at all? Does that look like a man who was scared and a man who was trying to flee and was just simply blocked? And was Nick Sandman just this imposing figure that refused to get out of his face? Not the video I've been seeing. Phillips kept on chanting and playing his drum. Okay. All right. So, but Sandman said it was clear to him that Phillips had singled him out for a confrontation, although he was not sure why. Fuck, it seems to look that way to me. He said the incident began when a group identifying themselves as the Hebrew Israelites began to shout disparaging and vulgar comments at his group. He said the students began using school spirit chants with permission from teachers in response to the taunts. Okay, in fairness, this seems just as effective as the healing drum. I think it's a bit silly, but I guess to each his own. He denied that anyone in the group said build the wall or used hateful or racist language towards Phillips. Our chants were loud because we wanted to drown out the hateful comments that were being shouted at us by the protesters. The protesters everyone has seen in the video began playing his drum as he waded into the crowd which parted for him. I did not see anyone try to block his path. He locked eyes with me and approached me. Coming within inches of my face, he played his drum the entire time he was in my face. I never reacted with this protester. I did not speak to him. I did not make any hand gestures or other aggressive moves. To be honest, I was startled and confused as to why he had approached me. We had already been yelled at by another group of protesters, and when the second group approached, I was worried that the situation was getting out of control, where adults were attempting to provoke teenagers. Caetano said the standoff continued until a chaperone came and led the teens away for a photograph. He's right. And this was very strong of him, because if he would have done anything, if anybody in that group would have done anything at all, it would have been a problem. And they, no matter how much in the right they would have been, because obviously they're not in the wrong, this would have happened. The matter is being investigated. Okay. So let's talk about the darling of the story, and that is the elder, Mr. Nathan Phillips. So, you can check this online, but it turns out our veteran friend over here, like they said in this story, but not the previous ones, was a discharged. He's a Vietnam. Hard to work in mirrors in this game. He is a Vietnam era veteran because he was in the reserves, which means he never deployed to see anything in Vietnam. Further still, let's see. This is just from townhall.com. Nathan Phillips discharged papers released, and he was AWOL a lot. So it seems like he was pretty good at getting out of places if he didn't want to be there. So I don't know what happened at the parade or at the march, or at the Indigenous Peoples March, but you seem to be a lot more slippery when you were in the reserves. Loretta already wrote about how Nathan Phillips wasn't a Vietnam War vet. He was in the U.S. Marine Corps from 1972 from 1976 and never left stateside. Phillips is at a center of media controversy. All right. The story, let's see. Phillips felt like his narrative was stolen, whatever that means. Brick after brick of the original. Oh my goodness. Give me something. Come on, guys. Okay. So these are all the papers, and there's a lot of information. But what is seen in these articles, or if you just go up and look at it, is Nathan Phillips, the service that he gave to America, the sacrifice that he made. He was in the Marine Reserves, which I guess we have to thank all the troops, but not the same as it's not the same as someone who lost a friend. Well, he could have lost a friend, but it's not someone that watched their friend die in their arms. It's not exactly that. You're not exactly Mr. I jumped on a grenade to save my buddies. It's not you. He was a refrigerator repairman. That's what he did. That's the service he provided for us, and that's his claim to fame as a veteran. It's insane. This whole story, every bit of this story. And the problem is just the media. The media jumped on this and they painted it as these racist white boys, these racist MAGA hat wearing white boys were discriminating against and being racist towards this Nathan Phillips character who was just the hero. He is the Native American elder Vietnam vet who's being scared and threatened. This guy knows nothing. Like this is insanity. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, who cares about that one? And now what does the media do when a story that they ran with and turned out not be true? What do they do? How do they apologize and how do they make things right? And how do they try to be more, or how do they move forward to be less biased, more accurate, and more truthful? What is their way to do? How do they come out and say, we fucked up, we're going to do better, this is why you should trust us? What do they do when they get it wrong? Well, here's the Washington Post. Instead of even trying to take credit or to apologize for, or to simply say, oh, we actually didn't watch the whole clip. There were hours and hours of video on this, and we saw none of it. There were multiple angles, and we actually just saw the angle of, we just saw the frame that we liked. Someone sent us a short clip that we enjoyed, that fed our narrative, and we ran with it. Instead of apologizing, this is it. How anonymous tweets helped ignite a national controversy over MAGA hat teens. So anonymous tweets are to blame for the controversy. No, it's not. It's not anonymous tweets. It's these tweets. These tweets and other celebrities just like it. This is what was the problem, okay? It's these tweets. Well, maybe not one of those. One of those posts is great. One of those posts can be posted forever. But yeah, it's the Kathy Griffin and the Sarah Beatties and the Cuomos and all these people. Those tweets asking for these kids to be punched in the face and doxxed, and for the schools to be burned down, and for schools to, do you know how many people that continuously are crying that, oh, we need gun control and we need safer schools and we need background checks and we need this? You know how many of them are wishing Covington School would get shot up just like those black Israelites did the same way? Oh, so you don't, it doesn't matter at all. But let's read this article. Let's see. Maybe they can swing me the other way. This is by Ellie Rosenberg on the 22nd. Dan Lovier, I think, a political strategist in New York, first saw the video on Saturday like thousands of other people who logged onto social media that day. A group of rowdy high school boys, many wearing Make America Great Again hats, had faced off with a Native American man near the Lincoln Memorial in Washington on Friday. Let's see. And it was recorded by many people with nearby phones. All right. By Saturday, Twitter's algorithms had taken 2 snippets of these videos posted by random accounts and helped bring them into many people's feeds. The tweets traveled quickly, another match thrown into the pool of anger and disenchantment that has been building up over race relationships in the Trump era. Trump's fault and Twitter's fault. I got very upset about it. Lavier said in a phone interview Tuesday, most of my Twitter network tends to be racial justice and social injustice, so I was seeing it amplified nonstop. Okay, sounds like you're in a bubble. Sounds like maybe you need to start branching off into other things, or at least trying to see separate sides of it, huh? The videos ignited a conversation that raged throughout the holiday weekend, having leaped from social media to newspaper and television broadcast and back to social media again. The debate grew as it took on layers about whether important context had been missing from the original video. It had. Whether the teens deserve such wide opprobrium. Many said they did. How about they didn't? And whether this was actually a debate between right and left that continued with its entry on President Trump's Twitter feed on Tuesday. But it may have taken off with the help of fraud. Twitter announced Monday that one of the main accounts behind the viral tweet about the episode had been suspended, saying that its rules prohibit deliberate attempts to manipulate the public conversation on Twitter by using misleading account information. Maybe we wait. Maybe as news people, instead of just banning the account and say, you can't put this out there, we be adults and take the information we've been given and take a second and say, wait, maybe there's more to this. Maybe we didn't get the whole story. Let's see if we can ask these students what happened. Let's see if we can ask the other side. And let's see if we can go find the truth in the middle. Simple YouTube. Simple YouTube search. Simple search. And what can you get? Oh, yeah. 2 hours of the entire standoff. You get to see the Hebrew Israelites stand there 2 hours of the whole thing. The episode leaves more questions than answers, namely the identity and intentions behind the account, but it serves as a troubling reminder of the immense power of social media networks wield over the political conversation in the United States, despite lingering concerns about their susceptibility to fraudulent and malicious use. Okay. Just blame Twitter. Just blame the internet. Just blame Twitter. Blame Trump. Anybody but yourself. You did nothing wrong according to yourself. You guys are worse than anyone. They're so much worse. It's hilarious how they just say, "Oh well, it's Twitter's fault." By the way, maybe we should talk. Maybe we should wonder why Twitter's so left-leaning. Maybe we should wonder why it's so triggering. Why is it that as soon as a white Catholic is wearing a MAGA hat, now it's a big problem, and this just burns the entire web and has every celebrity out there up in arms and ready to condemn a teenager and call for his assault. They need to do better, or we need to call them on it, and that's what I hope to do. I'll just finish with this. This is kind of the big takeaway, I think, of this whole thing. Like I was saying before, imagine if you were a person, if you were in Nick Sandman's shoes, and as a Christian, you believe that a baby has a right to live, you don't believe in abortion, and you think that's a bad thing. I know a lot of people already think that makes you a monster, but that's a perfectly legitimate thing to think. And you go out there and you try to do the best thing, you try to do something righteous. And what ends up happening is the news, through such just malpractice and such just the opposite of integrity, just the least respectable people, they paint your whole day, they paint everything about you and your school as racist white boys confront Native American Vietnam veteran. That's the story they run with. So they took the good thing that you thought you were fighting for, the righteousness that you were exhibiting in your life, and they turn around and they make you evil and completely they turn you into something that you're not, and what you went out there to do, The March for Life just gets the tiniest header at the bottom, just a tiny mention at the bottom. Nobody talks about it. It's just completely forgotten. And then the saddest part of it is right after we get this. 1 second. Okay, so right after you make that, okay. And right after you went out there on your pro-life thing, this is the 1-2 punch that is the world that we live in now. Not only were you painted as a racist and evil and threatened, and you've probably been going through hell for the last week. New York celebrates legalizing abortion until birth as Catholic bishops question Cuomo's faith. Okay. This is it. This is the world we have, guys. Think about it. I'm not going to make the call right now. I don't want to get into it. I've already gone for longer than I thought I would on this. But the world that we live in is this. You go out there and try to defend babies. And you try to go out there and be nonviolent and be righteous and stand for what you believe in, even if it is controversial. And the news paints you out as a racist, a harasser. You get the mayors, you get people threatening to expel you. Your school is threatening to expel you. All of this, your whole life is thrown into shambles. And on top of it, the thing that you went out there for, the March for Life, not only did it get no time in the press, not only did it got no attention at all from this, they actually went the opposite way. New York has legalized abortion up until birth. Literally until that baby pops out, you can kill it. And that's the world. And then that just goes in right under the rug. No one talks about it. That's not immoral at all. Does this seem like we're being compassionate? Does this seem consistently compassionate at all? I mean, I'll tell you what, the argument for that abortion stuff, that's not consistent. Because the argument used to be, oh, when is life? That used to be the argument. The argument used to be, oh, well, it's just a clump of cells. That was your argument. Are you consistent now? Is it still just a clump of cells? What's the difference between a baby when it's born? What's the difference between a newborn and yesterday when it was in its mom's womb? Nothing except where it's at. Nothing except it hasn't had the experience of being born yet. Everything functionally is there. I don't know. Seems weird. I'll probably just leave it with that. I'll say this shows that it's hard to be consistent, and it's hard to stand for what you believe in, and you will be, if you stand for anything controversial at all, I'll say this, if you don't stand for anything controversial at all, then you don't stand for anything at all. Or at least, if at some point you don't stand for something controversial at all, then you don't stand for anything, because the morals change. No one is consistent. The rules change, just like abortion was okay at the first trimester a month ago, and now it's until birth. The rules change. So if at no point do you ever have a controversial thought, you don't stand for anything. And if you do stand for something controversial and you don't bow down, you may just end up being stepped on and being maligned and being misrepresented. And that's something that I think the internet, that we should take this in stride. We need to take this as a lesson, and we need to really try to look at things from the best angles, and we need to see things from as many angles and as many perspectives as possible. Thank you very much for listening. I appreciate it so very much. I hope this one was all right. I went longer than I thought I would on this. Um. Oh. Forget it. Yeah, the government's back open, but I guess we'll talk about that in another time. We'll see. Yeah, let's give the Fed a week to get back into power, and then we can talk about how they're failing us. Thank you very much for coming, guys. You can follow me on Twitter at @BaseSammySosa. You can follow the show at N_consistency. I don't know if I have anything posted, but if I get followers, I'll put in the effort. I should probably do that the other way, but follow me at @BaseSammySosa. I tweet on there all the time. And yeah, just keep watching the show. Please like and subscribe. Give me any comments that you'd like. Tell me if you like the longer episodes or the shorter episodes. Any feedback at all would be greatly appreciated. Love you guys so much. You be safe, you be consistent, and just remember, easy. I don't know. I thought I had a saying there. Ugh. Bye, guys.